angle, different angles this way?
No, it works, you just move this over and this shift, but when this is way over there, then you don't see that.
Oh, yeah.
Because people's heads in the way, and if you're only, you see.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sure.
Hare
It's just that
Krishna.
when you have it way over here, it's
Hare
like
Krishna. You're
then
lucky.
you don't
You're a
see
lucky man.
it.
Lucky man who made the grade.
I'll chant drum. I'll play drum.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Read 24, 8, 7. I guess you can put them both on there. Put 7 in. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class today. Today we'll be studying from the 3rd canto, 24th chapter, entitled The Renunciation of Kardamamuni, text number 7 and 8. Okay. Abadayams tada yomni vaditrani gana gana gayanti tam sma gandharva nityanti apsaraso mura. Abadayam tada vyomni aditrani gana gana gayanti tam sma gandharva apsaraso muda. Nityantyapsarasomuda. Abadayam sada vyomni vaditrani gana gana gayanti tam sma gandharva
Avadayam sada vyomni Vaditrani gana gana Gayanti tam sma gandharva Nrityanti apsaraso muda.
Abadayam stadavyamni Vaditrani gana gana Smangandharva Nityanti apsaraso muda. Abadayam stadavyamni Vaditrani gana Gayanti tam sma gandharva Nityantyapsaraso muda.
Avadayam stada Vyomni Vaditrani Ghana Gayanti tam sma gandharva Nityan sasaro muda. Avadayamstadavyoni Bhaditrani Gananam Gayanti Samsarva Nityantiya Sarasomudha
Avadayamstadavyoni
Avadayamstadavyoni
Bhaditrani Gananam
Gayanti tam smagandharva
Gayanti Tansangandharva
Vichanti apsaraso mudha
Nityati Apsarasomudha.
Anyone else like to try? Or to chant? To try chanting? Avadayan sounded. Tada. At that time. Yoni in the sky. Vaditrani musical instruments. Gana the rain clouds. Gayanti sang. To him. Sma certainly. Gandharva the Gandharvas. Nityanti
Nityanti
dance.
Dance.
Apsarasa
Apsarasa
the Apsaras. Muda
Muda
in joyful ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
Translation. At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls known as Apsaras danced in joyful ecstasy. Translation again, I'll say, you please repeat. At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds
Demigods in the form of rain clouds
sounded musical instruments in the sky.
sounded musical instruments in the sky.
The celestial musicians,
The celestial
the
musicians,
Gandharvas,
the Gandharvas,
sang the glories of the Lord,
sang the glories of the Lord,
while celestial dancing girls,
while celestial dancing girls,
known as Apsaras,
known as Apsara,
dance in joyful ecstasy.
dance in joyful ecstasy.
No purport for this. We'll move on to text number 8. Petu sumanaso didya kechar apavarjitaha praseduscha disha sarva ambam sichamanam sicha. Word for word. Petu, bell. Sumanasa, flowers. Divya, beautiful. Kecharai, by the demigods who fly in the sky. Pavarjitaha, dropped. Prasedu, became satisfied. Cha, and. Disha, directions. Sarva, all. Bam, sea, waters. Cha, and. Manam, sea, mind. Cha, and. Translation. At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods, flying freely in the sky, showered flowers, all the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became satisfied. Translation again, I'll say, please repeat. At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky, showered flowers, all the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. Purport by the Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
It is learned herewith that in the higher sky there are living entities who can travel through the air without being hampered. Although we can travel in outer space, we are hampered by so many impediments, but they are not. We learn from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam that the inhabitants of the planet called Siddhaloka can travel in space from one planet to another without impediment. They showered flowers on the earth when Lord Kapila, the son of Kardama Muni, appeared. Om Agyan Turandasya Ganajana Shlakaya Chakshudum Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Bhutakadama We were born in the darkness of ignorance. Our spiritual master has opened our eyes as a torchlight of knowledge. Therefore we offer our most humble and respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasad Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatrikasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Krishna. So, we are hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This particular chapter is entitled The Renunciation of Kardama Muni, but it can also be thought of as the chapter of the appearance of Lord Kapila. So this chapter is divided into seven sections. The first section we studied the last few classes, and the class was about Kardama instructing Devahuti. So, as we know from the last chapter, Devahuti, after enjoying flying around with her husband on a magnificent airplane, she wasn't satisfied, even though she had all wealth, all beauty, and so many servants, and so much material facilities. She was not satisfied because why? Why wasn't she not satisfied? Anybody remember?
She wanted children.
She wanted children. The natural desire of a woman to have children, and so she was expecting children, and so that's what she wanted. But so, and then at the end of the chapter, she's even though she got everything she wanted, she was saying that I tried to get all this for myself, but still, I haven't really taken advantage of my association with my husband, who was a pure devotee, and he could have given me liberation. So the end of the chapter ended with her lamenting a little bit, and this chapter begins with Kardama Muni reassuring her, saying that even though you're disappointed in so many things, you should not worry, because now the Supreme Lord will appear as your son, and therefore you, in order to prepare for that even further, you must engage yourself in devotional service, and the result of having that son is this son will personally teach you the art of devotional service, and that knot that you're feeling. We all have this knot in our heart which comes from material attachment, and being tied up in knots is not a very pleasant experience. And Prabhupada explains that the knot in the heart, the more we add to our material identity, it's another knot, and another knot, and another knot. So the knot in the heart becomes very much attached, very, very strong, and very difficult to break. So that's the first section, and it was very nice because Kardama Muni, this section is considered to be also a lesson in how to live a household life. not that he could fly around, not that you could create a mansion. It's hard enough trying to get some land and a house, for anything. But the idea is that you have to provide. So this chapter is describing its ideal family life. Husband is Krishna conscious, but he provides material things for the satisfaction of his wife and the children, like that. But at the end, even though all this stuff comes up, in the end, or in his hearts, he's thinking of Krishna, he's thinking of going back to Godhead, because it's a nice situation you can create in this world. What do we know? It is not our home. It is not our place of permanent residence. So then we have here this chapter, which is describing, the verses today describe the moment that the Lord is appearing, right? The previous verse describes, a very nice purport in the previous verses, describing how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's transcendental no matter what, how he appears. He appears as a boar, he appears from the nostril of the Lord Brahma as a boar incarnation, or he appears in a fish body, or half man, half lion, from a pillar. The Lord is transcendental. So Prabhupada takes that opportunity to explain that the Lord chose to enter into the semen of Kardamuni. Usually you hear about the appearance of the Lord, and it's mentioned more in a transcendental way, from the heart of the Father or from the mind of the Vasudeva into the heart of Devaki, and it came out like that. So, but one of the things it mentions in today's verse is that the descent of the Lord, the appearance of the Lord, is an opportunity for celebrations. And what kind of celebrations were taking place? The demigods were involved. When the demigods get together, they have great facility. And one of the facilities is that, it's explained here, that the demigods, in the form of raining clouds, the demigods appeared in the form of raining clouds, but what were they doing? They were sounding musical instruments, the sound like an orchestra coming from the sky. And the celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, what were they doing? Singing the glories of the Lord. So there's a musical concert, they're singing, and the Apsaras came, beautiful dancing girls, and they were dancing along. This is a celebration. And the other thing the demigods were doing is they were showering flowers from the sky. And everyone's mind became very satisfied. So this is a common occurrence. We know from the appearance of Lord Krishna, the Gandharvas were also singing, and Apsaras were also dancing, and flowers were falling from the sky, and the whole atmosphere became purified and sanctified. Even though at that time, the political situation, Kanta persecuting the Brahmins, it was very hard, but because the appearance of the Lord makes everything peaceful. So, in the Leela of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, it's a little different, because the demigods, let's explain Lord Chaitanya. So we should be meditating a little bit on Lord Chaitanya's appearance today. It is explained that when the Lord appeared, what was the point I was going to make here? Find this right here, yeah. So when, first of all, when Lord Chaitanya appeared, at the time everyone was in the Ganges, they were chanting the holy name of the Lord, and the demigods were there, but they were in an invisible form. And when Lord Chaitanya appeared in the home of Sanchi Mata, It's explained that the demigods also came into the room, but they were also invisible. And it says that the demigods decided that they were going to play practical jokes on the people in the house of Satyamata in the neighborhood. So what did they do? They were kind of invisibly sneaking around the house. And when people saw this shadowy figure, they would say, "There's a thief, there goes a thief." And of course the demigods were all laughing, having a good time. And it says that the people were actually stricken with terror. They were very afraid, and some of them were trying to, "Nrsingadev, please help me." And the demigods are just, causing them to think of Krishna. And others were chanting prayers to Lord Shiva for protection. So it says here, while many persons were going around the house chanting all different mantras of prayers, a great commotion was heard inside Srimati Sachi Devi's house. The demigods had assembled to see the people, but the people outside thought that the thieves were entering. And some shouted, "Catch the thief!" While others chanted, "Nrsingadev." A Brahmin priest, endowed with powers of exorcising ghosts, threatened the invisible demigods. "You're lucky you got away today, but you do not know the tremendous power of the Lord Nrsingadev." Unseen to anyone, the demigods are simply laughing to themselves. This is happening for the whole month. Huh? So, yeah, so then, this is the demigods are doing different things, and I'm trying to think what else happened here. I got some notes. So Prabhupada's explaining this to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, right, about the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. And he's saying that he's actually describing a play that Prabhupada wanted to perform this play. And he actually dictated this whole play to Tamal and to Hayagriva. And he's saying that in this scene, Advaita Prabhu's wife, and Srivasa's wife, they were elderly and all women of the village. They immediately came with presentations, and some of the demigods also came. I mean to say, this is Prabhupada speaking, disguising themselves as ordinary men. So the demigods were coming to greet Lord Chaitanya invisibly, but they were also disguised as ordinary people. And they also came with valuable presentations. And then some professional dancers, they came, so he distributed charity to them. In this way, that function, Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, was Narada Muni there? Did Narada Muni come? Prabhupada, yes. Narada Muni also came. He says, you can show that in the play. Yes, all the demigods came. Narada Muni, Brahma, Shiva, they came in disguise, and their wife, Savitri, and then Uma is the wife of Lord Shiva. And that way you can show so many demigods and their wives coming. So Prabhupada was explaining how this can be presented in the drama, and showing the demigods glorifying Lord Chaitanya. So, in this age, in previous ages, people were pious. They were able to actually see the demigods, and they could actually see Narada Muni. Mahati tells the story of how Prabhupada was able to see Narada Muni coming to the kirtan of the devotees. And Prabhupada explains this to Rameshwar about the demigods. Rameshwar said to Prabhupada, devotees once told me, Srila Prabhupada, that the demigods, they like this movement very much, and that they're standing in line to take birth in the Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada, yes, they like to come here on this planet. Just like you, Krishna conscious people, you are very much enthusiastic to go to India. India has no material attraction. But why are men wanting to go to India in spite of so many difficulties? Similarly, in a higher planet, the heavenly planet, they are so much engrossed with material happiness that there is no facility for preaching. Prabhupada's talking about facility for preaching. There's no facility. But here, there is facility. In this earth, Burloka, he quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhogeshvaya Prasadanam, one who is too attached to material convenience and everything, they have no opportunity for Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is saying that the demigods, the reason they're attracted to come to the earth, because in the heavenly planets, there's so much sense gratification that it's hard to remember Krishna. The earth is considered a middle planetary system, in the middle planet, so that there's not too much pleasure and there's not too much pain. When there's too much pain in the house planets, you can't think very clearly about anything. You just think you're stopping the pain. In the heavenly planets, where there's so much enjoyment, you don't really think of God, think everything's all right. So Earth planet, it's a good planet, a good planetary system to be involved in, right? So it's a celebration. Prabhupada's describing that in the heavenly planets, there's one planet called Siddhaloka. Siddhaloka means the planet of the perfected beings. And the people in the Siddhaloka planet, they're born with all the mystic powers. In order to attain mystic powers, one must generally have to perform yoga and go through the Ashtanga yoga system to get these mystic powers. But in the Siddhaloka, they're born with all the mystic powers. And of course, the one Prabhupada is referring to here, the mystic power of flying, being able to travel at will. Prabhupada, on this planet, you can travel. You can travel by car, you can travel by train, you can travel by plane. But it's pain. It's all, there's so much inconvenience. Prabhupada's talking about inconvenience, so many impediments to travel. And Prabhupada, of course, is speaking from his own experience when he came from India, and what happened, seasickness, heart attacks, on the Jaladuta, or traveling in plane, so much inconvenience. At any moment it can crash. So this is different atmosphere. So this section is called the renunciation. This chapter is called Renunciation of Kardama Muni, and this particular section is called the appearance of Lord Kapila. So, with that said, this whole chapter has been transcendently poetized. Poetized? Is that even a word? This whole chapter, and I'd like to offer it to you today, but I did send out the first section, but I'll read the whole thing. I think the idea is to try to understand what is the context of what's happening here in this chapter. Renunciation of Kardama Muni, it includes Kardama's instructions to his wife Devahuti, so thoughtful and so caring. The appearance of Lord Kapila Dev, the glories of Kardama Muni, Devahuti, and Lord Kapila Dev. It includes a section on Lord Brahma, marriage of the 9 daughters that he gave. It's called also Kardama's prayers to Lord Kapila Dev. Response to Lord Kapila Dev to Kardama Muni, and the last section is renunciation of Kardama Muni and attaining the kingdom of God. So, with your permission, I will recite this transcendental poem for your pleasure. Seeing that Devahuti's sense of renunciation had been awoken, her husband Kardama Muni became softly spoken. Do not be disappointed with yourself, O glorious one. The Supreme Lord will surely enter your womb as your son. Engage constantly in devotional service and give much in charity. Be happy, knowing that the Lord appearing as your son is a rarity. He will personally teach you the devotional art, which will thoroughly vanquish the tight knot in your heart. Faithful Devahuti respected her husband's direction and began worshiping the Lord to attain perfection. The Lord entered the semen of Kardama after many, many years, then appeared in Devahuti's womb, removing all her fear. The Lord appearing in this world is the joyous reason why the demigods played musical instruments in the sky. The Gandharvas sang his glories to their heart's content, while the Apsaras danced in ecstasy, celebrating his advent. The denizens of heaven showered flowers like rain, and in all directions and minds did peace truly reign. Lord Brahma went with Marichi, many sages and holy men, to the bank of the Saraswati, Kardama's hermitage den. Brahma knew that the Lord would appear from Devahuti's womb just to explain Sankhya Yoga to the world to illume. After worshiping the Lord and carrying out his religious duty, Lord Brahma spoke as follows to Kardama and Devahuti. Thank you for understanding my instructions very clearly, showing them proper respect. You have worshipped me sincerely. For sons who execute their father's wishes, nothing is nicer. Just as good disciples obey the Guru by saying, yes, sir. All your beautiful daughters have nice thin waists. They will increase this creation while remaining very chaste. With due regard to your girls' likings and disposition, get them all married to great sages with my permission. The incarnation of the Lord will soon appear as your son. His name will be Kapila, and he will satisfy everyone. He will have golden hair, lotus eyes, and lotus feet. He will preach Sankhya Yoga to anyone he meets, uprooting material desires of those he will defeat. Lord Brahma told Devahuti, the Lord is now within your womb, the same Lord that for demons like Kaitala spell doom. He will cut the knots of ignorance and doubt from your heart. Then after preaching to you, he will very soon depart. Your son will be the head of all perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas who know life's real goals. You are so fortunate to have Kapila as your son to claim, known as the son of Devahuti. He will increase your fame. Lord Brahma went back to his own heavenly abode on his swan carrier with the 4 Kumars and Narada he rode. Kardama then married off his 9 daughters, as he was told, to the 9 great sages who were not so old. From the sacred unions in all 9 of their wombs, there would soon be an auspicious population boom. The sages, all happy and content with their spouses, left Kardama's ashram to go to their houses. When Kardama understood that Lord Vishnu had descended, he quickly approached him and spoke words that transcended. Oh Lord, are the demigods finally pleased with us suffering souls who are entangled because of identifying with false roles? After many births, mature yogis, by complete yogic trance, endeavor to see your lotus feet, even just a glance. But you, my Lord, have appeared in our humble abode, overlooking our laxness, so your blessings can be bestowed. You have descended in our home just to fulfill your word, to give transcendental knowledge that's worth being heard. Your unlimited forms are not of this material plane. They are only goal. They are the only goal your pure devotees try to attain in their rigorous search For the highest truth so sweet, your transcendental form gives sages victory, not defeat. You are full in 6 opulences, thus I surrender unto your lotus feet. Devahuti desired a ray of Vishnu, and you appeared as her son. Your transcendental name is Kapila, the Supreme Person. I surrender unto you, the Lord of matter and time eternal. You maintain everything, and yet dissolve the external. My dear Lord, today I have something to ask from you, since I have paid back everything that was due. I wish to give up this family life, wander about and live apart. But at the same time, always be thinking of you within my heart. Lord Kapila said, I told you before that I would become your son. Know that whatever I speak is beneficial for everyone. For those sincere souls who are materially tired, I appear in this world to free them from material desire. This path of self-realization is true knowledge so sublime. It'll be taught again by me, having been lost in due course of time. Now, being sanctioned by me, go as you desire. By devoting all your activities to me, you'll stay in the fire. Becoming free from lamentation and fear is the start. Better yet, this knowledge lets you see me in everyone's heart. You will easily conquer insurmountable death by surrendering to me with your every breath. I shall also speak this knowledge to my mother to hear, so she can reach perfection and be freed from all fear. After Kapila spoke to his father in full and first hand, Kardama at once left home for the woodlands, alone, silent, meditating on God with one pointed desire, traveling by foot with no roof or warming fire. He gradually became free from material affection. His mind turned inward, making divine connection. Kardama saw everyone situated in the Supreme Godhead, known only by bhakti, before going down on his deathbed. By his perfect devotional service to the Supreme Lord, by his perfect devotional service to the Supreme Soul, Kardama easily achieved life's ultimate goal. Thus ends the poetized version of the 3rd canto, 24th chapter, Renunciation of Kardama Muni. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you for your listening, and I hope it was for your listening pleasure. But anyway, the idea is that to get an overview of the chapter is an important feature of trying to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's what I tried to give you today. Any questions or comments? Reflections? The verses today were about the celebration of the appearance of Lord Kapila Dev and the aftermath of that. The Lord Brahma coming to also congratulate, and so many things happen. Any questions or comments?
Just real quick, thank you for taking the instruction that Prabhupada originally gave to Vandas, was to study a particular pastime and then poeticize it. Remember, he wrote this book that was totally honest. It was, Prabhupada said it was impersonal, waste of time, ink, paper. But if you want to write, then you read in a Krishna book, and then you can poeticize. So thank you. You didn't do that, but you've done it. There's an interesting part of the, translation. And all the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very waters became satisfied, and considering how we've got a lot of troubled waters these days, literally and figuratively,
Troubled waters?
yeah, troubled you know, like,
Do you
right
have,
now
do
in
you have, do you
Australia.
have a bridge over the troubled waters?
Well, some of them are wiping out the bridges. Like in Australia, there's a cyclone coming down on the devotees that might have already hit, and they're definitely gonna have some troubled waters. And then, you know, we have all these recent floods in the Carolinas, so anyway, it was interesting, and it said that the waters also became very satisfied. So I thought that was interesting, and it also a reminder how everything ultimately is the personality behind it.
The water is being controlled by Varuna Dev, so because of the appearance of the Lord, the demigods, he's one of the demigods, he became happy, and when you become happy, you become satisfied. If you're, or the other way around, if you're not satisfied, then you're unhappy, right? Something missing something. But when Krishna, the point is in this verse is that when Krishna appears, then everyone's satisfied. So Krishna's appearance in this world is by the, Prabhupada says in this world, he was asked, how will Krishna come again in this world? But he's saying, his answer was, Krishna's already come. He's incarnated in the form of his holy name. So when you're chanting the holy name, when you're dancing for the pleasure of Radha Chandra, when you think of Krishna, these are the techniques to become satisfied. The appearance of the Lord, whether it's coming as an incarnation, or coming as a celebration, or coming in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, devotional service, association with devotees, and worst comes to worst, you can always take prasadam and appreciate the presence of the Lord. But thanks for pointing that out, Mama. All the directions, the waters, and they're all controlled by demigods, and even the mind, right? So everyone's mind became satisfied. So who's the demigod of the mind? Anyone know? Anyone guess? Huh? You know who? Who controls the mind? Demigod. Like it's probably, huh? Yeah, the moon god. So, demigods control every part of our body, blinking the eyes, hearing process, everything. So this is described. Thanks for pointing out, Monty, that everything's a person. I think Prabhupada gave you that. Prabhupada gave you that lesson, Monty, very early in your Krishna consciousness. Malati came to the movement. She had when she first came, she had a dog. What was your dog's name? Anyway, she had a dog, and Prabhupada, and Prabhupada gave you a lesson. I remember you telling us as well, that Prabhupada, you were complaining about some of the people who treat their dog like a person, right? And so they treat them just like a Prabhupada. The dogs, they're treating their dog like a person, and Prabhupada said, he is a person. Right? You remember that? Yeah, very clearly. So, see, everything is personal. You had a question or comment, Prabhu? You grabbed the microphone? You got the microphone?
I have it.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything? We got 5 minutes. Yes, Prabhu?
It's a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It was really wonderful class. Poem was very touching. I hope I can get to read that again. And I was wondering while hearing class that it is said in heavenly planet there is no facility for devotional services. But when we hear all the pastime of Lord, demigods they are dancing, singing, showering flowers in any incarnations, and and we also see another side, they directly connected to Lord and they do prayer, inviting Lord to the earthly planet. So, like, what is that? There is no facility for devotional service in
It doesn't say there's no facility for devotional service, it's just that because it's so comfortable there, but it's explained that when you are a devotee in the heavenly planets and you're taking part in Sankirtan or chanting the description of the higher planets that in the Bhagavatam, that you become absorbed in that. It's so much more pleasurable than the pleasures that you're experiencing on the level of sensual pleasures. You know, your mind is not disturbed. But yeah, the opportunity is there, but you have to utilize the facilities. Like the demigods are utilizing their facilities here to glorify the Lord, and therefore they're satisfied and not distracted. In this particular instance, they're coming to celebrate. So the celebration of festivals are a big part of Krishna consciousness because it means that everyone can participate. The rich, the poor, the ignorant, the educated, everyone can participate and bring something to contribute to the festival atmosphere, right? So Mr. Prabhupada's, one of his main preaching programs was to have festivals, right? Rath Festival is established all over the world. And there was one temple in the early days, Los Angeles Temple. And Prabhupada was so pleased that every Sunday they had a Sunday feast with a particular theme. If it wasn't a regular holiday, so to speak, holy day, in that week, then they would create something like one of the festivals that was created was that they made a festival for butter churning festival. So also a Sunday feast came and everyone was given a bottle of cream and they were shaking the cream and making butter. And that way it was the creative, the creative intelligence of the leaders at that time was to try to involve everyone in the festival atmosphere. Because actually the spiritual world is a festival always, right? There's always a festival going on. That means, what is it, every word is a song, every step is a dance. This is the nature of the spiritual world. So Prabhupada wanted to have that, even with our own temples, you know, the morning program, the morning greeting the deities, there's supposed to be a festival, right? Festival for the eyes, festival for the ears to hear the holy name, festival to see the beautiful dress of the deities this morning. It's so incredible how the Pujaris are so nicely dressed for Radha Chandra and their expansions, matching flowers. I mean, this is a real festival. All the senses are hankering for pleasure so much. So the temple offers that experience. If you're not realized where you can see Krishna every moment, you come to the temple and see Krishna, hear Krishna's glories, and participate in the eternal festival, Krishna consciousness. So this is a description of the festival, the appearance of the Lord. So, one time Prabhupada said that the devotees were explaining in America they celebrate New Year's. And Prabhupada said, what's the big deal about New Year's? For a devotee, every day is like New Year's. Because Krishna's devotee yoga means ever fresh. So if you're actually experiencing Krishna consciousness, then you'll be experiencing this fresh enjoyment, really. Joy, right? I mean, we're about enjoyment. Satchitananda. Like if it's not going to make you happy, then why do it? Right? I mean, Krishna consciousness is meant for the ultimate happiness of the soul. So if we are not experiencing at least a glimmer of that, and we're cheating ourselves. Right? Everything is given. The process is given. To follow it and experience it. And we can always trace back. Why are we feeling it? Right? Why aren't we happy? Why am I miserable even though I'm a devotee? You can trace it back by understanding the acharyas explain, what are the impediments to pure devotional service, right? What are the six causes of fall down? What are things? Sense gratification is like, sense gratification is like pouring water on the fire. So we're trying to build a fire, devotional service, devotional life. Ultimately, devotional life means Satchidananda life. Right? If we're feeling down, if we're feeling ignorant, right? If we're feeling, afraid, these are all caused by bodily conception. So, and it means chasing the dream, tracing the illusion. So, any question, any comment, anybody else want to say anything? Okay, so one more, take one more.
Thank you, Prabhu. I have a question related to the demigods that control our senses, actually. So here we water the root, the tree is satisfied. So if we satisfy Krishna, the demigods are satisfied. We are ultimately satisfied. And so if each of our senses is controlled by a different demigod, and we have very contaminated senses that are all over the place, dissatisfied, overstimulated, etc., like a roller coaster. Does that mean, I don't even know how to really formulate this question. I've always looked at it as just a contamination and a purification process of the material world. But I'm wondering if there's something to do with these demigods and, I don't know, is there another way to look at it based on the demigods?
Well, it means controlling doesn't mean they give permission for the senses to act. It's up to you. It's up to the jiva soul, your free will, how to use the senses. But the senses are acting, whether they're acting materially or spiritually, that's your decision. The demigods simply make the mechanics of the senses are working by their blessing, by their intervention, by their invisible presence, to make them activated, so to speak. So, but bhakti is not about pleading to the demigods to make our senses, engage in devotional service. It's up to our own desire. Of course, praying, and gopis pray to Goddess Katyayani to get Krishna as her husband. And probably we generally don't pray to demigods, but if the intention is that I'm praying for the result of getting Krishna, forgetting Krishna, devotee can do anything. And you put it the other way, forgetting Krishna, a karma can do anything. So the idea is that, you can pray. I mean, sometimes Prabhupada says, Nectar Devotion, right, there's a saying that there's something in there about we should offer prayers to Ganesh, because Ganesh can remove obstacles to devotion. Prabhupada is not really necessary, but if the devotee has an inclination to pray to a demigod, he should be praying for Krishna. That's the point, not for material facility. Because generally you'll see Ganesh above cash registers in business. People pray to Ganesh for success in business too, but the devotee doesn't do that. So the connection between the demigod and the senses, you can pray to the demigod who controls your mind, but why not pray directly to Krishna? Pray to the spiritual master. He's already given the tools to control the mind. And Krishna says, right? Manmana bhagavan bhakto, just think of me. And that is the way to control the mind. When the mind is thinking of Krishna or Krishna's service. So there's no really need to pray to the demigods. If one is inclined, then he should pray not for something material, but for something that will please Krishna. So, does that help? Kind of something. All right. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj, Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Jai.
Jai.